Hello, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of the Tenn.Drift podcast. I greatly appreciate you tuning in. Today, I got for you Jonathan Hurst. He's been tearing up FD and a lot of local events, including LS Fest. He has the sweet G37 that's shooting flames out the turbos. Super fun, friendly guy. If you ever see him at an event, definitely say hello. And I hope you enjoy the podcast. Thank you so much. So, taking into this past year in consideration, how well do you think it's gone? Into did it meet your expectations?
Well, honestly, no. So last year, it was a little bit better actually. Just considering I qualified at three of the four rounds, and this year we only qualified two of the rounds out of four. But we did have a podium this year at round one in Orlando, which was really huge and
That's
definitely
awesome.
definitely made me realize that I deserved to be there. But I had a couple tough breaks. Atlanta, it rained on both of our qualifying runs, and then
Yeah.
in St. Louis, I got bumped out by the very last driver, so I qualified 17th.
And with the rain, I'd assume you have one of the higher power cars out there for Pro 2.
Yeah, and the rain wasn't a problem. I connected the course. I mean, or linked it twice. I mean, most guys were having trouble linking it, at once.
Yeah.
But a few of the guys had gotten runs in the dry right before it rained, so it
Yeah,
kind of
that
hurt
makes
a
it
few of us. But at the same time, though, I mean, it was no excuse. But
sure.
also for Atlanta was my only mechanical failure, well, driveline failure this year, and I broke a drive shaft flange on my second lap in practice.
Oh shit.
So I didn't get any practice at all besides one lap. So going in the qualifying, it not only was it in the rain, but it was also basically my second lap.
I really wish Pro 2 would have more time on the track because there's a lot of great drivers, a lot of great cars, and it just seems rough with seeing 2 to 3 practice runs essentially, and then you go into qualifying, and then the next day you get a couple of practice, and then the comp.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, if you're in Pro 2 and you can't link the course in one lap or much less on the second lap, then in theory, I don't think you need to run Pro 2. And
That's fair.
I mean, but at the same time, it seems like Pro 2 is getting so much easier to get into that anyone's getting in. But the thing is, you can't just link the course and think you're going to, qualify.
Yeah.
So the judges are a lot more strict than what you think, and you got to throw down a really really good lap to even fall mid pack.
For sure. What was the number out there for most of the events? Wasn't it around 40, and then top 16 actually is what competes?
Yeah, I think round one we had like 41 or something like that, and then
Whew.
I think the as the year went, I think we dropped down to like 38, which honestly is pretty amazing that not that many people stopped.
Yeah.
Or like quit the season, if they didn't do good or if they wrecked or something. Because in like pro am, you always see the first round there's like 40 drivers or 30
And
drivers,
then the
and then
next one's
by
cut
the
in
end of,
half.
yeah, exactly. And that's what happened with like MDU and stuff. Like they couldn't sustain because drivers would show up to round one and then round two, like they're gone.
Yeah. Speaking of getting into Pro 2, so what pro am did you do? A pro am, a shootout, or how did you obtain your Pro 2 license?
So in 2017, I ran the MDU season, which was the last year they ran an actual season,
Okay.
and finished top three in that. Before that, I only ran State of Drift, which is kind of like East 10 back basically now, but it was
Okay.
like a lower level. It wasn't pro am level or nothing, and then I went straight to pro am after that.
Okay. Did you still have the G37 at that time, or what car were you running for your pro am?
No, for basically all of my serious competitive drifting, I had a 350. I had the 350Z, the orange car, with a turbo LS as well,
Nice.
and ran state of drift with that, which was meant I basically had a way overbuilt car, and then went to pro am, basically had a way overbuilt car to everyone else's knowledge,
Yeah.
and because in Pro-Am, I had the twin turbo setup. I was running like 700 or 750. So basically almost the same setup I'm running now. I mean, I've just ran the same setup for like 3 years.
I gotcha. Definitely makes it easier, I think, if you stay close to your Pro-Am setup going into Pro 2, so you don't have nearly that learning gap between when it's like, hey, I was able to compete here, and now I'm completely fucking ditching the car and going from, like an SR20 240 to an LS powered whatever that's just a monster.
Absolutely. Well, the thing is, I kind of basically did it all wrong. So if you talk to other guys, everyone's like, oh, you don't need power to drift, blah, blah. Well, like I was the opposite of that. Like I was drag racing at the same time.
Okay.
And it was my street car. So I basically built the car to do a little bit of drifting, but I was also going out to car meets and street racing and doing, just basically having fun.
Just a jack of all trades car essentially going on.
Exactly. So if I was out getting beat on the street, I was going back the next weekend and, trying to figure out how to turn the boost up, like if I was going to turn the boost up or whatever. So, and then, the same thing with drag racing and street racing and stuff, like everything progressed so quickly that if you didn't have 1,000 horsepower on the street, then you were nobody,
Yeah. Now, did you get your start with getting into automotive stuff with drag racing, or?
No, not really. So basically, if you start from like the very beginning, my dad was like a mechanic. My brother was a mechanic, and my brother though was in the cars, and he was always in like Fox bodies doing burnouts and stuff when I was in, like elementary school and middle school.
Nice.
And so whenever I got my first car, I got like a Honda Civic, put some wheels on it, riced it out or whatever.
Sure.
And then
that makes so much sense now. No, I'm kidding.
So I traded around, and then I ended up with a 3000 GT VR4.
Okay.
At like 17. So I was still in high school with a twin turbo all-wheel drive car, you know. And so like my goal then was like I wanted to go super fast, and so I did like 160 in it, and posted on a forum like, oh hey guys, I just went 160 mile an hour on my car, and they're like, call me idiots, and how stupid I am, and this was when forums were a thing.
Yeah.
And so they did autocross though, the forum that I was in. So basically, after I got rid of the VR4 for a 240 though, and it was a dumb trade, but I went ahead and did it. The VR4 was having some issues, and so I got this 240, and I was playing around in parking lots and stuff, and then I went to autocross with it, and I wouldn't really autocross. I would basically just drift, and they would get mad and stuff at me, but so I started doing that.
I've always wanted to see someone do that. For one, doing media, I think I would die laughing if I saw someone just connect a whole fucking autocross track drifting.
Yeah, for sure.
It would make my day, and you'd probably just see like 10 officials walk out to them by the time they reach the finish line. Just livid.
Not really. So when I was going to the events, I was still a KA 240. Okay. And because I was still in high school at this time, but I put some wheels on it, and I was drifting the course and everything with the KA, and my buddy had kind of got me into it. So like before any of this, before I even had my license, actually, my buddy had a Honda Accord, and we would go and when it's raining and like just rip the handbrake and think we were drifting with a front wheel drive car, but we were linking turns and not doing stupid, like we were trying to legit do it.
Yeah.
And then he bought an RX-7, and I just got my license or intermediate license, and I like learned super quickly on how to drift it and like do some donuts and stuff. And the first night he got it, we did it in a parking lot, and a cop pulled in, like a state trooper guy, or a park ranger, and he like took me out of the car, put me on the hood and everything. And I thought he was going to arrest me, but he didn't. And so I got a ticket for doing donuts is what he put on the ticket. And so I had to go to court and everything for that. But that was kind of like where it started was my friend bought an RX-7, and then I ended up getting a 240 once he had that. That's and awesome. We were drifting together, and he was like watching videos and kind of got me into it. and then I had the 240, and then at autocross, I would drift the whole course. And then it basically got to a point where I was getting good enough at it that they really didn't care. So, like, I wasn't hitting the cones or anything, and
Sure.
demolishing it. So they really didn't get that mad about it.
That's cool. Yeah, I guess as long as you're not actually causing them to have to go out and rearrange the track every time you make a pass, it's not too bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Granted, I could imagine if you had a good bit of smoke, they'd be pissed off that the next person now has smoke that they have to drive through.
Yeah, but with an NA240,
Yeah, it wasn't too much.
Getting no smoke. It's probably none.
Oh man, that's pretty sweet though.
Yeah, so with the same car, so in high school we had an automotive class, a tech class, and so I was paying attention, always trying to learn how to like weld and all that stuff in tech school. And I asked the teacher if I could do a swap on my car, and he's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, I blew up my 240 at the time, giving people rides at high school, and it spun a bearing,
yeah,
and locked the engine up. So he's like, yeah. So I pulled the engine out of it, and he let me like take it apart in class and learn about it, inspect it, and show like the other students, how the engine comes apart and stuff. And I bought a SR20 swap from like a JDM place.
Sure.
And we got it in and set in the car on like a Thursday and started hooking some stuff up on the Friday. And then I took it home that night from school, and I told my teacher I was going to drive it in on Monday. And he's like, no way. And so I stayed up the whole weekend and wiring this car up and stuff by myself, and finally got it all together. And I drove it to school Monday, and he was surprised.
Holy shit. Yeah. That's pretty insane for, being in high school and getting all that done.
Yeah. So like my teachers were letting me skip class, like English class or something, just so I could go to the tech class to finish my car and stuff like that.
That's unreal. So you have automotive in your blood, it sounds like.
Oh yeah, for sure. Basically that's all I do.
So what got you to go from the straight JDM route over to the LS platform?
Well, there was a guy on the autocross forum. Like once they started talking to me, like they were being nicer to me and stuff on the forums, and after I started going to the meets and stuff, and like I had a couple other cars, so I was trading and flipping everything in high school,
Sure.
like making money. I bought a Fox body Mustang and then sold it for more money and stuff like that. And I sold my SR swap 240 and then bought an S14 that was SR swapped already that made like 400 wheel.
Hell yeah.
And I bought it and did a little bit of work to it through the month I had it, and changed it to a top mount turbo setup and everything. Probably one of the nicest 240s, definitely the nicest 240 I own. And I posted it as like a joke for sale for $9,500, and I bought it for $6,000.
Hell yeah.
And within like 30 or 35 minutes, it was up on a forum called Zilvia.net, which was really huge, and it sold. Some guy was like, I'll give you 9,000 for it if you meet me here. And I was like, okay, deal. So went, traded it, got a 350Z, and while all this is happening, like drifting wasn't like something I was like, oh, I'm gonna do forever, or that I'm gonna do all the time or anything. It was just something. Actually, we when I had the 240 and I did the SR swap and everything, we drove to Nashville for our first drifting, me and my buddy, when it was out there at the super speedway in the parking lot. And actually that's where I seen Human. And the thing that made me do an LS swap was there was a white S13 there, coupe, that was LS swap, just got done. His name's Tyson Schmidt.
Okay.
And as soon as I seen that car, I told my buddy, I was like, look, I'm gonna have an LS swap one day, and like it wasn't realistic at the time because his car was like perfect. And even to this day, that build would be nice. And he was killing it, and he was the only one that had like a nasty V8 engine out there. But my buddy, a local dude from here, was at that drift event, and he had like a fully built RB car with a cage.
Okay.
And he was like, man, just take it easy, try to link one turn, at a time and see how it goes. I think it was like my third or fourth run, and I could link the whole track. And so everyone was like, "Dang, man, you're like progressing really quick." And so I kind of started like wanting to go to more events after that, but I didn't really go to any. There wasn't that many that was that close.
Sure.
And I got rid of the 240, had an S14, and it wasn't really a drift car. And I don't even think I drifted it. I basically just street raced it. And I was kind of tuning it myself and learning how to tune on like a little SAFC thing, like a little handheld tuner.
Okay.
Which really doesn't count as tuning. It was just you're just adjusting fuel and air. But I got it pretty fast, but I sold that car and made all that money. So I made like $3,000 in a month on it, and I bought a 350Z wrecked in Chicago. So I had a 350Z in high school, which back then, I mean, they weren't that old, So
how old about are you?
I'm 26 now, so this was like 9 years ago,
Yeah.
10 years ago. So the 350Z was like insane that I owned it. And I took like a little loan out, bought some work wheels, and a aftermarket front bumper.
I knew the first thing you do with any car is put wheels on it.
No, it depends.
Like 3 of the cars you've talked about, it's like, yeah, got the car, put some wheels on it.
Yeah, I mean, either that or the other cars. One of the car had wheels on it already, the S14. So basically, all I was doing to it was trying to make it faster.
Gotcha.
But the 350Z though, it was like I got it cheap because it had some front end damage and like it was really sketch buying it from Chicago. Like my mom was flipping out, like, why are you buying a car from there and all this stuff.
Just assume it's a hot car with no title.
Yeah, I just had this big wad of cash, and I'm like, dude, I want something cool. And so we just went up there, and because I sold the car on a Saturday, went and bought that one on a Sunday.
Oh shit!
And it was awesome. And, awesome car. Got it, and I put some gold work VSXX on it, and basically quit drifting mainly, and went into like the stance scene. And the car got like published in Stance Nation and all over, and it got like really big from getting shared and everything. But then I kind of started to drift it a little bit with the wheels and everything on it, just for fun on the street.
Sure. But
never went to an event. And turboed it, spent all of the money I had, and it blew up. Oh, and that's how I met Dynasty too, was with the 350Z.
Oh, nice.
So I was 17, I think, and I went to Dynasty. I was getting my car tuned by them, and I asked them, or actually he tuned it, and I didn't realize what I was getting into. And then I get my bill, and it's like $1,000. And I told him, I was like, holy crap. I was like, dude, like, I don't even know if I have that much money on me, And he's like, oh. And so he kind of helped me out, I think, at that time, and let me get a little bit better deal because I gave him all the money I had.
Oh, shit.
And so I got the car, and it ended up being a faulty fuel pump that caused the engine to blow up. But at this time, 4 days later, like, I didn't have anything. I didn't have any money to rebuild it or spend $10,000 to get another VQ built or something like that.
Sure.
And so the way it blew up too was a dude with a Mustang locally here was talking crap, and I went and raced them, and they went ahead and like put a 200 shot or whatever on his Mustang and was spraying the crap out of it just so he couldn't beat me. And I still beat him both runs, but it blew up on the second run.
Oh shit.
So I got it, tore down, and that was I somehow salvaged everything. I put a factory engine in it, sold the car for a lot more money I had in it, sold the turbo kit for what I had in it somehow. And this is where it kind of got serious. I bought an FD RX-7.
Okay.
With the LS in it.
Oh, nice.
Never had an LS or nothing. I was kind of just looking. I had like, I think I had 18 or 20 grand cash. And at that age, I'm 18 probably at this time. Yeah, for sure. So this local dude's like, oh, well, my dad's got one of those cars. And we're like, no way. And he's like, no, it's LS swapped. And we're like, dude,
okay.
Yeah, whatever. And he's like, and then later he's like, sends me pictures. I'm like, I want to come look at it and drive it. And so I go over there and I'm like, holy crap! Like this dude really has this 5.7 swap LS1 and an
Oh
FD
wow! So
ARC-7.
it wasn't even like a truck motor or anything.
No, it was it was a LS1.
Shit. So he actually did it right.
Well, somewhat. So he had bought the car from Florida. So,
Okay.
anyways, I finally talked him down enough, and I paid cash. Like I don't know what I forgot. I think I paid like 15 for it, and so I bought that car and drove it and drag raced it and stuff like that. Had fun. Went to a bunch of car meets. Never did any drifting really at all. So during that time, I wasn't drifting. The 350, I really wasn't drifting. So I don't really know why I even stayed with it or how I even came back to it, honestly.
Yeah.
But when I had the ARC-7, I posted it for sale for more money to make some more money on it. I was going to flip it. And this was when I was like, all right, I'm going to build my own car now, like from scratch. And I bought a 240, or I sold that car, made some money on it. And I bought a 240 coupe S13
Okay.
and started piecing together my build. And I had like $17,000 to spend basically.
Spent it
So I bought
all.
an I bought an S10 for like $2,000 to drive every day,
Okay.
and basically just started building this LS1 with heads, cam, intake, like everything you could do to it besides rods and pistons.
Okay.
And I had a guy that I paid that he showed me how to build it, and I learned on that and put it together and started drag racing, drifting it, and started going to, I don't know if you ever heard of KMS,
I haven't.
but they were kind of like a joke. I mean, he ran a couple events, and he ran an event in Bowling Green. I went to it and entered it, and they were just, it was a very unprofessional event, but kind of the only thing that we had going on.
Sure.
And I think they were out of like North Carolina or South Carolina or something like that, but it all became a big joke, like the dude putting it on.
Yeah.
But he was really cool to me. He was really nice to me. And at this event, they put on like a legit event, competition event, like the next year. And I still had this 240. And I was starting to try and get like sponsors for some reason. Like, I don't even know why I would think I could go to a company and ask them, but I was.
Yeah.
And so this local tire shop here called West Kentucky Customs, he sponsored me and was like, he'd help me out. And he would, the only thing is he did was he just changed my tires for me for free. And so
Yeah.
I gave him like I put his logo all the way down the side of my car, like as big as you could. And not even thinking about anything about social media wasn't that big really, I don't think. And at the event, I was doing pretty good. I forgot what I placed. And there was another company there that had like a little booth called Aloha Green Tea. And I remember Louis Garza was sponsored by him, had his whole RX-8 or something stickered up.
Oh shit.
Or Andrew Kate, one of those. And so when I approached him and I approached the guy at Amsoil when I was leaving, I was like, hey guys, I'm be interested in sponsoring me, and that's how I went to him. I literally just straight up went up, asked him to sponsor me basically. And I guess the reason why I kind of have that I had that mentality was because prior to all my drifting and car stuff, I was skateboarding and I was sponsored skateboarding. So
Oh shit.
like I took
Gotcha.
that same mentality, into the drifting basically.
Gotcha.
And so after that event and got Aloha Green Tea, like kind of helped me out. Well, he sent me like some flavored tea packets, a couple shirts and stuff. And I'm like super hyped, at this point.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, this is really taking off. And it was just an S13 coupe with an LS swap, no cage, like it had some stance coilovers, but they were junk. Local guy like cut my knuckles, and basically, I was having fun with it though.
Yeah.
And I'm drifting everywhere and just doing basically drift on the street more than anything. And I was still drag racing this car, basically still what I do now.
Yeah, I've
And
seen your videos of the G37 out there on the drag strip, and I'm just like, holy shit, this seems like a bad idea, but it runs.
Yeah, like honestly, drag racing's helped me more than anything, in theory. the my Orange 350. It had a parachute on it, and I always wanted to go to this event called TX2K, which was basically a street racing organized event. I mean, it wasn't. Everybody organized to meet on the street after the big event.
I just really want to see a parachute on the back of your G right now, and like as you go through the finish line, just the parachute comes out. I would die laughing.
Well, it's supposed to. We were supposed to mount it on this car too, but I never did.
Gotcha.
But the 350 got a lot of attention because, well, I guess we're kind of getting out of like the stages of how I got to where I am now. But
You're good.
The 350 though, I was drifting pro-am, drag racing it, and street driving it everywhere the same year. So you've heard of 1320, I'm sure, because it's so huge. Well, the Orange 350, the Orange 350 made the cover of the Texas Streets DVD the same year I won pro-am.
Oh hell yeah!
So I was in a video street racing the Z, and it got like 1 million views or something like that, and so it blew up. Like that car, was insane and helped me out with a lot of the companies that I'm with now. So by street racing and drag racing and stuff, it's helped my marketing more than than just drifting has.
Sure. That's cool. It's actually gotten your name out there a ton, it sounds like.
Yeah, and it definitely did. A lot more, like 1320's got, I forgot how many, how many followers and people they got, but it's insane.
It's ridiculous with them and Cletus over there and all that. It's unreal.
Yeah. That's kind of how I met Cletus too.
That's awesome.
So they're a really good group of people, with all those guys.
Oh yeah. Seeing them at LS Fest and everything was really cool. Just going over from drifting to drag racing, kind of just swapping between there.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh man, yeah. So this year was your second year in Pro-Am, right?
Yeah, Pro 2.
Pro 2. And then you had one podium this year. So did it feel good to did you beat Human at every event?
Yeah, I believe so. Well, no, because he qualified Atlanta.
Oh, that's right, he did. Oh, so how does it feel to lose to Human?
Man, we can't even talk about that. He blew it himself.
Yeah, that's fair.
I give Human so much crap.
Oh man. Yeah, dude. Human is one of my favorite people in the world, I'll admit it. He is a great dude, and I love seeing any of the videos of the foot race or whatever you guys have put out there. Has been great.
Yeah, for sure. I think it helps with like marketing, and just media and media presence. I think any media presence can be good.
Oh, without a doubt. As long as you know how to market yourself half decently, I mean, you just have to be a likable guy and have fun with what you're wanting to do professionally. I mean, it doesn't, like, you're going out to compete at a sport that you're making smoke with your car and going as fast as you fucking can sideways.
Exactly.
Like, how it's hard to not think about that technically and not just smile.
For sure.
So anything else that you can do on top of it is just, icing on the cake pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so I know, which event was it that you put out the cost analysis for what it took to run one of the events?
I did a couple. So round 1 this year, Orlando actually. I started the cost analysis, and it kind of picked up and like took off. Like people like sharing it and stuff, and then like it kind of died down.
Yeah.
And then I tried to do it again for, I think it was Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot more drivers posting their cost analysis this year than ever before.
Exactly. And it's just the thing is, there's so many people wanting to go into Pro 2, and the thing is, I look at it is, well, when I was in Pro Am, I only did 1 year of Pro Am.
Oh wow.
And so in the off season, everyone's like, "Oh, you're not ready. Don't do it. This is a huge jump." Blah. A lot of negative stuff.
Sure.
Oh, it costs way too much money. You need $50,000 to run Pro 2. I'm like, and I was like, okay, well, instead of listening to everyone, I started like pricing everything on my own. So I started reaching out to drivers like, hey, how much is entry fee? I wouldn't ask them how much they spent.
Yeah.
Essentially because they would come up with some crazy number.
Yeah.
And except for Andrew Lewis, actually. Andrew Lewis was like, I asked him a couple of questions, and he was super reasonable on how he did everything, and he was doing it super cheap, and he did well.
That's cool.
So, like, essentially to me, Pro 2, it's almost more about talent in a way. I mean, think about it. If your car is decent too.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a well-built car,
let's go with reliable.
If you have a reliable car and you can drive, you can finish top 10 easy to me, because honestly, all you have to do is qualify.
Yeah.
Like, if you can qualify at all 4 rounds, then you're going to finish you're almost guaranteed to finish top 10.
What is it that gets moved over to Pro 1 or like gets a Pro 1 license? With
top 8.
Top 8, okay.
Yep. So, and essential, I mean, I just think that all these people that are spending $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on a Pro 2 season, they're going like above and beyond. Don't get me wrong. If I had the budget, that would be amazing.
Yeah. Like 30 doesn't shock me that much. Like 30 almost seems reasonable to me.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I almost question, like, well, I almost wonder where's 30 grand at in the year. I guess because I do it so cheap that I'm like questioning, like, I guess
depending on transport, depending on crew, and considering living situations, and if you're including, depending on what breakdowns you have with the car.
For sure. And that's what, I guess, like, if you got a bunch of crew, that's where it can definitely get expensive. And if you're paying for all their stuff, which you should be, but in my situation, I might not be. But I've got some good friends, that that are interested to help. And the thing is, though, like, I got people that help me, but don't get me wrong, I'll help anyone. Like, I have a buddy that drag races, and anytime I can go and help, like, I go there and I work my butt off to help him, And he doesn't pay me. I don't ask for money or nothing. Yeah. So,
and that's one thing I've seen with like drift culture in general, whether it's a grassroots event or it's Pro 1 FD, even you'll see anyone from a crew, even the other drivers help out people that aren't even part of their team.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, why not though?
Yeah, because everyone's out there to have a good time, even though you're competing. Where I've always had the negative. Like, I've always seen the negative side of drag racing, of people like not wanting to pop their hood and just being an asshole.
Yeah, the not popping the hood's cool, but the being the asshole part sucks.
Yeah, it's like, hey, so
I know that you like. I think not popping the hood sometimes it can be cool because, like, if you're a nobody and you're coming up to an event, like, I mean, I guess at the same time it doesn't really matter, but it's almost kind of cool to like keep it secret, like everyone wonders what you got.
I got you.
I guess I've never been that person, but
yeah, like I guess with my mindset of doing media and stuff, like I love getting a shot of someone's work under the hood.
Oh yeah, for sure. If they're not going to allow a camera guy to take, like, a photographer to take a picture, then that's kind of crazy.
But I definitely do see your point as well. Of I want to show what I want to show what I got on the track. I don't care to show it in the lot or in the pits or what have you.
Yeah, exactly.
So getting back to FD stuff. So what do you remember how much it was for you to compete at Orlando?
Well, considering that I podiumed, so I got like $1,250. I got like 1,000. I think I got $1,250 for third place.
Okay.
So, like, if you take that and subtract it, and like sponsor money, which isn't a whole lot or nothing, I think I ended up spending like $1,000.
Oh, that's not
which
bad at
was
all with everything
no,
included.
that's absurd. Like,
Yeah.
but the thing is, that takes the tires away. That take like the tires
Was that the foot race event?
the yes, that was the foot race event. So that you subtract two tires there, like it just things um added up, added up.
Sure.
So in reality, like that's very rare for that to happen. It's
Yeah.
just I got lucky,
That's
and it
cool.
was crazy when I was posting the budget stuff. Tons of people were messaging me on Facebook, like trying to send me money and stuff, and was like, "Oh, well, here's $50 for some food." I'm like, "Man, I can't. I would not take it." But there
Yeah.
was like two people, that specifically like sent it to me where it had to go through, so I couldn't not accept it.
Yeah.
They would like Facebook Pay, they did
Yeah.
Facebook Pay or something like that instead of like asking me what my PayPal was, because all the guys that asked me what my PayPal was, I was like, "Oh, I can't tell you."
Yeah.
Because it's not that I wasn't making those posts for someone to feel sorry for me or anything. I was making those posts so other drivers or other people realize what it's honestly taking to do.
Yeah. It was more so just to be informative, not to throw a pity
Yeah,
party
I
or
mean,
anything.
yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I'm not. It's my own fault where I'm at. I'm
Yeah.
broke because of me. I'm not. It's not I'm homeless or something.
Yeah. I mean, I can see you almost driving yourself homeless after what happened at LS Fest, but other than that,
Yeah, which sucks and was all my fault. But
oh man, like I hated it so much because you were killing it that day.
yeah,
Um,
well, well, the thing was, you got like $1,500 or something for winning that event,
yeah,
or I forgot what it was, and I needed that money bad to make it to Texas. Instead, I set myself the opposite way. Still made it to Texas, but I'm still on a Texas event basically. Like,
yeah,
thankfully to Kevin Lawrence, he helped me out and sent me those parts, and we've actually just been talking the last couple of days. Like, I got to get those parts to him,
yeah, makes sense.
which was like $1,030.
Okay, and just like yeah, because even if you have the money, getting WiseFab angle kits next day is not exactly an easy thing to do.
Well, it didn't matter. It didn't matter. I didn't. They didn't have it stocked,
Yeah,
so we called, and no one in the U.S. had that kit.
shit.
Except, and then I think Pat Gooden like put a feeler out, and then he was talking to Kevin Lawrence, and they were talking about my wreck or something like that, and Kevin was like, "Well, I got a full kit right here." So he contacted me and said, "Hey man, I got the kit." And at the same time, though, George K was gonna pull his practice car apart just so I had the parts.
Holy shit! Yeah,
So
that,
luckily he didn't have to do that, and Kevin was able to send or bring the kit he had.
that's cool. Yeah, see, like it's stuff like that that makes me absolutely love the drift community.
Absolutely.
Because it also makes me more livid whenever I see toxic people in the drift community because the majority is so far beyond it.
Yeah.
But then you'll see some people that like, well, not even jokingly, just like actually badmouth other drivers and other in teams and stuff like that. And it's just like, there's no reason to be doing this
Yeah,
whenever
and it happens more often than you think.
that doesn't surprise me as sad as it is.
It just seems like, uh, honestly, it's kind of
People love
like who
drama.
you are too. And they well also like in drifting, like some people do just think they're better than others and can't talk to I don't know.
I got you.
It just seems
That
like there are
superiority
there,
complex.
which is in anything though. I mean, it's just I think that no matter what, you'll see that
Yeah, that's fair.
with whatever you're doing.
Oh man. Um so just thinking back where like bringing you into drifting seemed like the huge competitive aspect and almost like most of the time whenever I think about someone that, especially someone that came from skateboarding where you were sponsored, you almost have the idealistic of you're indestructible and can do anything. And not even in a bad way, just that you can accomplish whatever you're wanting to do. I know you've had a couple of transmission issues in the last year or two. Have you like going into next year? Do you have a new transmission in mind, or?
Well, not necessarily yet. What we're gonna do, like, so the transmission deal, um, kind of just recently started being a thing the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Like in Pro-Am, I drifted with the 800 horsepower. I just didn't have that grippy of a tire at the time,
Okay.
and I was running stock transmission,
Shit.
like bone stock TVD6, and I drag raced with it and everything.
Whew.
So I think maybe in the middle of the year or something, I switched and got like faceplated or something. But other than that, like it wasn't because I broke it drifting.
Yeah.
And then
It's the first time I remember
think,
having the transmission issue, and there might have been one before, but I remember LS Fest last year, you changing out a transmission with the car in the pits.
exactly. But what's funny is the year before that, at LS Fest on the Sunday of the fun day,
Yeah.
I grenaded a transmission there too. So the not this year, but so 2018, 2017, I broke a transmission at LS Fest.
Shit.
And I think there's been multiple reasons on why they've been breaking, but now that I've got basically everything you can put on a T56 or
Yeah.
N1, and it seems right now it's going to hold up. But the last one held up for a long time, and I don't really think it was so much. I think it's all been a problem with the bell housing. I've had a stock bell housing, and I think it's allowed the case to flex more than an SFI one does, and it lets the gears get misaligned.
Gotcha. I know there was talk, you mentioning going to a Magnum, but
Yeah, so that's what's in the works.
okay.
And I'm pretty sure like it's been basically nailed down that I'll be running a Tremec Magnum. Um, and the gears are a lot bigger and everything, but we're not sure if it's going to be stronger than what I had before. We're going to see how it goes, and if if the Magnum holds up to the abuse, then it's probably going to be the cheapest transmission you can get for an LS or drifting period.
Yeah, I don't
That
doubt
will
it.
hold up. That will hold up to the abuse.
Yeah. So I know lately it seems like, well, for a long time everyone went with was it the G-Force dog box?
Yeah, and they're still kind of the go-to right now.
Yeah, it seems like the more reasonable option. Then sequentials have started picking up, being a lot more cars this year at least.
Yeah, I'd like to have the sequential. We tried to get a deal worked out this year where I could get the 6XD, which was like 15 grand.
Whew.
And just right now, me and Humankind just decided that's just not the route.
Yeah, I do love seeing you guys working together. It sounds like for next season of him changing out his 350.
Yeah, I kind of told him, I was like, well, if we're gonna team up, then it only makes sense if he built a 370.
Yeah. Are a lot of the suspension components the same on the G37 and 370?
Everything's the same besides drive shaft.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
So that's kind of why we're doing it. So basically, we're gonna have spare engine, we're gonna have spare suspension, spare coil. I mean, just spare everything.
Yeah.
And we only need one spare of everything. Hopefully, only one of us, wreck or break something, but.
Yeah,
It'll save a lot. We can save on crew. We can save on the spare parts and travel and just everything essentially.
Yeah, that does sound like it makes a lot more sense. Are there very many other Pro 2 drivers that are teaming up like that? Like the only ones I can think of offhand would be like Sorensen's, but
yeah, well, I just seen where on Human's post, I think Mike Pollard and Nick Gross, I think, or Gross, or whatever, however he says this. I think they were teaming up. I think I don't know. I think you'll see it more often now.
Yeah, I know Nick Gross. He is, I believe, the crew chief for Taylor Hole.
Yeah, yep, he is.
I got to see him drift at LS Fest West this year, which was really cool.
Yeah,
Um,
I wish I could have went to that event. Sounds pretty cool.
have you been to any of the LS Fest West?
Not yet. It's a
Um,
long haul.
that's fair. It's yeah, definitely bringing a vehicle out there is no joke. Um,
Yeah, it costs. Well, it just takes a lot of time.
yeah. Uh, are all the Pro 2 events on East Coast or are there any West Coast? I know Texas is like the middle of the bunch, but is it Texas, St. Louis, Atlanta,
Yeah,
Orlando?
yeah, that was last year. So we'll see. Because or that was this year.
Yeah.
Last year was Irwindale instead
Yeah.
of Orlando.
Yeah, that definitely. I thought it was Irwindale instead of Texas for some reason.
No, it went. We went to Texas and Irwindale last year,
Okay. Yeah. So
which was awesome. I wish we would have went back to Irwindale for sure.
yeah, I wonder how much of a strain that causes them to have both champion. Like how much different it is for them to have two championships at the one event.
Well, I think the problem was space. I guess there was a trucking company that bought out some of the parking
Oh
area
shit.
there, and so the pits, like for last year, Pro Two was like jammed in this little bitty parking lot, and was basically separated from Pro One guys.
Gotcha. Yeah, that sounds pretty rough.
Yeah, so I think that was the reason.
So just going off the events, I know you go to LS Fest East. Are there any other like smaller than FD events that you hit up throughout the year?
Yeah, so do I'll be doing Grid Life again.
Okay.
Um, I was gonna go to Import Alliance Fall Meet, but I didn't this year. I've usually went the past,
Don't
and
go.
then I also run some events for Streetcar Takeover.
Oh, that's cool.
So Streetcar Takeover has been trying to get into drifting a little bit, and I run the drift portions at the St. Louis event and Bowling Green.
Nice.
So when they're doing their event there, I'm running the drifting during the day there too.
And let me just say, and I don't even care if IA ever hears this or hates me, but I hated Import Alliance and Bowling Green.
Really?
It was such a bad setup and just timing was off for everything, and they have no clue how to do traffic flow in and out. Like LS Fest was
Yeah,
bad, but LS Fest also had like 40,000 people this year. Import Alliance
exactly.
has like eight or
LSFS, I think
10,
they just couldn't do it.
and like I got to Import Alliance at 10, like I think at like 9:40, and it took me an hour and a half to get in.
Yeah,
And then just like how everything's set up is just I don't it's just kind of bad to me. Like they don't separate pits and everything, and just everything's all well. I guess pits are separate because they are actually elite. I guess that's the one nice thing for drivers is they are actually on the road for their pits, so you have solid ground to work off of.
yeah, for sure. But I don't know. The years I've won, I mean, it's not been too bad. Yeah, it's not as organized, but heck, I just go there and drive. Like
That's fair.
my thing is that they charge like, which is cool for the people that are doing the ride-alongs,
Yeah.
but they're charging like 50 or 60 bucks for people to get a ride.
Oh shit! I didn't realize it was that much.
But I mean,
I think
I
like,
guess
and each of the
for the
drivers allowed like 5 passes or whatever they can give out for ride-alongs.
yeah. So I mean, it's a set of tires. You know, depends on what tires you're running. I mean, it costs more than that to get give a ride along sometimes. So
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Like if you're, and that was one thing I've noticed with. I noticed that a lot more last year because this year I think they started cracking down on ride-alongs.
yeah.
Um,
So I got in trouble a lot. I was giving people ride-alongs for free, and just like I was just like having people hop in. You know, like every pass I had someone else different in it,
yeah,
and they were getting mad. But
yeah. Like I
the
noticed.
thing was, like, I was a pro two driver, and the other, so Kelsey and
Sure.
whoever else was doing it, I think it was Jeff Donati on the year that they were doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, I tried to get in on that deal, and I don't know, for some reason I didn't get in on it. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just give right along to myself then.
Fair enough. And like I noticed with Kelsey's, it seemed like there was definitely low wheel speed whenever she was doing her runs because I've seen her compete and she typically puts on a much better show.
Oh, yeah. I don't blame her. I mean,
yeah,
she's just trying to make her tires last.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah. They're getting paid to do it. So
yeah, so she was playing it smart.
For sure. If I was in that situation, I'd been doing the exact same thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, she was probably getting, 10 to 12 laps per set of tires instead of where if she would have been driving the piss out of it, like at an actual comp or like even practice at a comp where she might get 2 or 3.
Yeah. I mean, I could go out there and, put on a show for the fans in one lap, be done with a set of tires.
I don't
Actually, at LS Fest, like I was being stupid and just sitting on the limiter sometimes at LS Fest and like one lap and my tires were done.
Fuck. Oh, that's rough. Man, that car looks so damn good out there. I took plenty of pictures of your car and just like hoping to see more fire.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I guess the change in the rev limiter this year like made a huge change in like everybody approaching the car for it being loud and throwing fire.
I bet. I mean, and that's the thing with drifting is it's a huge spectator sport. So
absolutely,
the more of a shit like talent matters. Fuck yes, talent absolutely matters when it comes to competing and actually qualifying and winning. Then talent 100% matters. But to build up influence, to get the people to want to see your car, to want to talk to you, and I bet it even helps out with sponsorship. Is just that like sense of showmanship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Going out there and putting on a show that every fucking person in the crowd's just cheering you along and wanting to see you drive out there the entire damn night.
Yeah, I mean, at LS Fest, like I wrecked, but the whole crowd was going crazy.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone in the bleachers was on their feet whenever that shit happened.
So even though I wrecked, it still was a decent show.
Yeah.
I wish I would have moved on. Like I wanted to win that event so bad. Like I've never went to an event and was like I'm gonna win. Like being that determined. Just that that was like my home. Like LS Fest is my home track, basically home event, and so I've always wanted to win it, and I've still yet to win it.
Oh man, yeah, and I guess because first was Taylor, second was Blake Vanthoff, and third was Human.
Yep.
So I love that a Pro-Am driver was able to get in the middle of 2 FD drivers for the top 3 in LS Fest.
For sure. That track is easy to do so if you're a good driver in Pro-Am. Like, the power don't matter there, really.
Dude, like, talking to him, he has a lot more power out of that car than I thought there was, because he's around 700 horse.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I knew it. Yeah, it was a turbo car, I think.
Yeah, it's a turbo LS.
Yeah, so, I mean, he had plenty of power. But at that track, though, you could take 400 horsepower and be on someone's door.
Oh, yeah. But, like, it has to be super rough for the high horsepower guys out there whenever, like, some of the Pro-Am drivers I know, and I love them, they're great, but, like, they don't have a lot of power. Like, I think Corey Cooper and Jake Elliott are both sitting in the 300 to 400 range. And then
yeah, but there's no. I mean, are you saying like for the higher horsepower guys, it's a trouble to follow them?
Yes.
Oh, not at all.
Really?
Yeah, it's just because of the driver.
And then also, I would even think keeping up with the high horsepower guys would be difficult, especially on like that opening sweeper.
Yes and no. I mean, it just depends on how much. Like, I feel like you just have to have the guts to enter on their, like, try to be on their door.
I got
like,
you.
Yeah, we have a lot of horsepower, but I think Taylor, he was the only one that was like probably super fast off the line because he had a big tire.
Okay.
But
yeah, I forget that you're probably still running the same tires that you run in Pro 2 and you're limited to what, like 265?
Well, actually,
or 255?
I wasn't. So I'd actually I actually got some of Taylor Hull's tire like takeoffs, some 285s and stuff.
Oh shit.
But so since I was limited on tires, like I didn't have money for new ones. I was running
Yeah.
takeoffs. So I was like picking and choosing for each battle. So like the first battle I went against Abe Heath, and I threw on some like 255s.
Okay.
Because I knew he wouldn't be so too fast, but at the same time, like I wanted to be on his door and prove. I wasn't that event. I wasn't leaving it to the judges. I didn't care who it was,
Yeah.
and so I made sure it was very clear. I stayed real close to him and still made it very that I had the dominance in the battle. But I was only on 255 with him. I just had the car gripped up at the same time. But the way I drive with someone that's slow is it's probably hard on the car, but I'm just super aggressive. Like use the handbrake, get super close, clutch kick back behind them, and just like keep surging.
I got
It's
you.
not gonna on the car, but you can follow the slowest car.
Sure.
If you want to. Like I like following slow people.
And you get crazy angle.
I go to an event like No Star Bash. Sometimes like I'll just instead of like they'll let the pro guys like run in their own line.
Okay.
But I'll just hop in like the slow car line. So like sometimes I try to follow people that I have no idea who they are, and a lot of people say, "Oh, don't follow this person," blah blah. But I feel like if you just follow random people, like your driving's gonna get better and better and better because you don't know what they're gonna do or anything. And so I just try to follow the most random people and slow people just so I have that experience for if it happens in a competition.
That seems terrifying to me to do that in your actual comp car because often slower, and it doesn't always mean the case, but often slower means less experience, which means more prone to spin outs.
Yeah, but if you're a good driver, you'll always know when they're going to spin out.
Yeah.
So I've had several people spin out in front of me, and that's what kills me is watching some of these other events. Like you'll see a car just plow the freaking dude in front of them if they spin. Like it just kills me to know that.
Like getting this year.
Well, hang on. What did he do?
Wasn't it or well, what happened to him more so? Because I think it was it Gucci hit him?
No. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I think it's Texas. Could be wrong. Where he kind of like he tried to steer out of where he thought someone was going to hit him square on, and I thought he still got hit.
Oh, that was Seattle.
That was Seattle? Okay.
Yeah, I got what you're saying. Yeah, I mean that's a whole different case though. Like that wasn't if I'm not mistaken, Gucci was behind Vaughn, and then Gucci made a huge mistake, went way inside, and Vaughn seen him at the corner of his eye, and Vaughn thought he was just going to plow into him, but he wasn't. He didn't.
Okay, I think
there was a big issue about it.
I think I'm getting two different events stuck in my head of things that happened.
I gotcha.
And I know what was it, Odie and Chelsea for the nice hit of Chelsea catching some air.
Yeah.
But
I mean but those are FD event like scenarios. So if you're at like another event, following someone that's less experienced, usually they're not going to be going. You're not going to be going that fast, and they're not going to be blowing that much smokes.
Yeah, much smoke. Yeah, I guess in my mindset, I was thinking of like the amount of experience and the level of driver they are, but at the same time, the speed is insanely different at one of those versus
I mean they're trying
where they're probably doing 40 miles an hour around half the turns,
and they're trying to win the event. So
yeah, so they're literally on doors.
Yeah, for sure, it's a lot different.
So going back a little bit, I know you'd mentioned like Dynasty working with you and giving you a deal, and now it seems like you have a pretty major partnership with Dynasty.
Yeah, so basically back in the day when I was getting my 350Z tune and stuff, I built the 240 and I hit up the owner and was like, "Hey man, I was wondering if you'd help me out with tuning my LS car, and he kind of was like, I mean, I sent him an email, was trying to be pretty professional. I was kind of hitting him up all the time, though. I was very, persistent.
Persistent.
And so he was like, he helped me out. I don't know what kind of deal it was back then. It wasn't
Yeah.
like anything crazy, but so I went there. He helped me out, and so ever since that 240, he's always sponsored me,
That's cool.
and it's always been it might have been a little then, and then when it got more serious, and I was building so when I got rid of the 240, it was LS and everything. I pulled it, I stripped it, and actually, what's his name? He's from New York. His last name's like Snyder.
I have no idea.
Tom Snyder. He actually helped Riley Sexsmith, and he built a BRZ. He's drifted in like MDU, like the shootout and stuff.
Nice.
But anyways, he bought my 240, and he went and caged it and built it into like a pro-am car, and he drove it. And I think he still has the car. But after I got that car, after I sold that car to him, I went and bought a 350Z chassis that was caged already, but it was a drag cage and came with an LS swap kit. And so then that was the car I swapped. That was the orange car I had.
Okay.
And then I took it, built it, turboed it, and then Dynasty kind of got a little bit more on board. And then when I was running Pro-Am and I won, and then I went to Pro 2, or right before Pro 2, I was always taking cars to him and getting them tuned. And then right before I was doing Pro 2, he called me and asked me if I was interested in a job. And I was like, I thought it was crazy, because I always looked up to those guys that work there. And the shop is super nice and professional, and I was just kind of thought it was pretty crazy. And so I went and worked there, and that's when I ran Pro 2. And so he hauled my car to the events, and that's when he like really jumped on board, and helped out. So it was really cool. And but the orange car, he helped out a lot too, because I was on the Texas. He was tuning my car for that event, and we kind of just had a lot of big media bursts, like with 1320, and we went to like a drag strip event or airstrip event, and we just was gaining a lot of media with the car.
With the airstrip event, was it like a half-mile thing, or?
It was more like just a random like roll race event.
Oh, gotcha.
It was 4 Z days.
Snazzy.
So he's always been there, and Hal, the owner, has just been a really good friend, and he's helped me out a lot, from just going to events and parts and stuff like that.
Very cool. Always nice to see whenever a tuning or performance shop gets involved with a driver to actually help make everything closer to reality, or make it into reality even. For sure.
It's kind of just crazy that, from starting out as being a little kid in high school, bugging them for like 10% off or something to now, we're 8-9 years down the road, and we're, still together doing things.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So like with your current setup, did you build the engine, or did you have
No. Mike Lau, Racing Engines, builds the engine. Okay. So that's my engine builder. Actually, I blew up an engine in 2016. I built it myself. Like the way it worked was, I built a single turbo setup, did a 5.3. It was bone stock. It made 800 wheel horsepower. I built the engine myself. Me and my buddy built this engine in a garage.
Yeah.
And stock parts, though. And it was making 800 horsepower. I was drifting the crap out of it. And it finally blew up a year later. So I'm thinking, and it was due to a lifter failure. It wasn't even due to anything else, like a rod or anything. So it wasn't even that big of a deal. So I'm thinking, I can build an engine now. So I put together another stock 5.3, and it blows up. Put together another stock 5.3, blows up. And then I built a pretty nice 6-liter, and it blew up. And this was all pretty quick, and I was like, what the heck? What am I doing
Yeah, so you
wrong?
just kind of got a golden egg out of the first one.
So, yeah, come to find out, it really wasn't even me. It was a fuel pump issue. Like the fuel pump would come on intermittently, so
Oh,
like it would
gotcha.
lean out. But at the time, I thought it was just me. So as soon as I called this guy up, and someone's like, my local buddy, gave me this guy's number. I told him, I said, "Hey man, I need a sponsor." I was like, "I'm trying to run pro am next year. I need something reliable." I was like, "I'm trying to make 1,000 horsepower." He's like, "Oh, okay." And he told me he cut me a deal on the price, and I went to him, got the engine built, and was beating the crap out of it within like the first month or 2 months. I was already having people go to him that were getting engines built by him, and
Oh yeah.
so he was helping me. He started helping me out like the next year, like significantly, and kind of just grew that relationship as well, and to what it is now. And he'll always build my LS engines for sure. Like he is super good. I have no issues out of him. It's 3 years straight now that I've had the same setup basically.
Fantastic. Yeah, so I guess it kind of works out of a non-engine related cause to cause all the engine issues, but then it works out to you then end up getting involved with someone who's doing it professionally and gets you real
Yeah,
set up.
exactly. Yeah, well, I got the new engine built and I put it in the car, and it was messing up. Like, not the, I was having an issue with it not running right, and then we found the issue, and then it
Okay,
fixed it, and never had the issue anymore.
sweet. And then I know you run wise fab alignment part. What coilovers are you running on it?
I've been running Fortunato for 3 years now, since
Nice.
Pro Am. So Nick Swan set that up for right before I started Pro Am, and been with him since.
See, it sounds like it's been great for you, but what would ever possess somebody to trust Nick Swan? No,
What do you mean?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. He's a good dude.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I'm just
Me and
jealous
him,
of his
me and
beard.
him, yeah, me and him butted heads before. I mean,
Oh yeah,
uh, but he's a really good dude, and he's huge in the sport, and he's trying to help as many people as he can.
without a doubt. Um, he has a stressful job out there for trying to get everyone in order that's not wanting to be in order.
For sure. Well,
uh,
see, when I was running Pro Am, he was basically running. He was in with MDU at the time, and like a judge and stuff, and coordinator and
okay,
stuff like that. Then so, and I was mouthy. I had a bad attitude. I was young, so
never.
when things wouldn't go right, or I got a bad call, like I let him know about it, which was it was definitely the wrong thing to do. So I apologized to him, and
Yeah,
we've made things right, and I've been working with him with a lot of things. He's helped out a lot with my program and gave me some advice and stuff like that.
that's cool. And I mean, and he does a ton for the sport because any like real big event it seems like that I go to, he's kind of the one of the main guys in charge.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I know for both LS Fest, uh,
LSFS, Grid Life.
yeah, FD of
Yeah, I mean,
course.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty crazy. But so going into next year, do you have any major changes that you're thinking about other than teaming up with some guy that's human?
Um, just to do better. I want to get a lot of seat time this winter,
Okay,
and I want to win the championship.
hell yeah. Do you have any
So,
like grassroots style events over near where you are, or
not really, but I'm building a G35 sedan and trying to get it going. And it's the same wheelbase, and it's going to be a lot lower horsepower. But I'm just any seat time is good
yeah,
seat time. So,
that makes sense. Um, are there any smaller events that you think you'll be going to do a shout out at all, or
yeah, it just depends on what pops up. I wanted to go to Orlando in November for the Black Friday event, but I'm not sure.
okay?
It's just a long haul.
You can go to the Slam Nuff Stupid Cold event in Memphis.
I thought about it. Just kind of depends on what's going on at the time.
That's fair.
I
I am
went to
kind of
it a
psyched that.
few. Actually, that's where I seen Human wreck his red car or
Oh
his
shit.
Z hard in front of everybody.
Ooh.
Actually, my buddy was sitting on the concrete barrier, and Human hit it, and it made him bleed. It pushed him like 20 feet. My buddy it made him bruise his hip and made him bleed and all kinds of stuff.
Oh shit.
So
So Human tried
I'm
to
not
kill
really,
your friend.
yeah, I'm not really sure if Human knows that. So
Um, the last time I went to shit, I forget if it's Hangover Fest or Stupid Cold or whatever, that Traction Optional put on, but
yeah.
I got to see a car hit an ambulance, and that was insane.
Oh, really?
Um, I th- I think they had a brake line fail, and it ended up just spraying one of the front tires in brake fluid.
I got you. Not much you
Um,
could do then.
yeah, so like he just started monging, and then he couldn't straighten out, and he just went off to the
I feel like
side.
I feel like I was there.
Yeah, it was this. That was this year in January.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't there then.
But next year is supposed to be a 2-day event with drifting both days, so that should be pretty awesome. I'm hoping.
So is that January usually?
Yeah, I think they already have the event page up. I'll share it with you later or something.
Oh, okay, cool.
But yeah, I'm just trying to think of any of the other kind of. It feels like anything from November till like between November and February is like kind of off season for everyone.
Yeah.
Just because a lot of places, get snow and ice, so they can't really do too much. But granted, down here, I think last year we had 1 day of snow in
Yeah.
Tennessee.
See, I'd like to
So
have Human's car done by then, but it's gonna be tough with PRIs like first or second week of December. So getting some sponsorships and stuff like that, partnerships lined out
definitely
will be kind of hard to do and get the car done that quick, but we'll see.
understandable. Uh, is his car up there with you, or where is it at? You guys are having to work with it.
He just got it and he stripped it, and then it's going to Rice Fab with Chris Miller.
Oh, nice.
He's doing the cage, tube in the front, tube in the back, and then the car will come back to me, and I will put the engine trans, take it to my buddy for the turbo kit, um, which is Brock. He works at Dynasty. He'll be doing that, and then basically I'll get the car done and do like the other kind of fab stuff like radiator mount and stuff like that.
So do
And
you have any logos for like your brand, like that's for
for
you?
cash racing, yeah.
Are you gonna? How many of those are gonna be hidden in his car? Is all I actually really want to know right now.
Oh, see, that's good thinking.
Like
May,
we both
they
know.
may be everywhere.
Yeah, we both know if he was to be working on your car, you'd have little X-faced guys all the fuck over that
Oh,
car.
absolutely.
And if you didn't, then I would want to take him to the emergency room because something's wrong.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you feel all right? What's wrong, dude? But yeah, please, like anytime or like if you have roll cage hidden by by like the roof of the car, just have some cash racing facing inward. Wherever you can get away with having it, just do it.
For sure.
I already know he doesn't listen to this podcast because he hates me, even though I love him. So he won't have any clue this is going to happen.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Yeah, pretty much. Now, have you guys considered for like any of the work together to try and get like more YouTube video? Like
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be doing for one, just on my channel. I'm definitely going to try and like video the progress of the build and
yeah.
what's going on and stuff like that. And then during the year next year, we'll be doing like frenemy type stuff.
Yeah, that's what was kind of going through my head, like what Forsberg and Turk do.
Yeah, for sure.
But is your channel, is it Cash Racing or what is it for anyone to look up?
My YouTube is McBoostin now.
Okay.
So that I got that name a long time ago at the autocross events. So my FD form name was McBoostin. So I wanted to change my Instagram to that, but right now I think it's kind of too late.
Yeah, I would say you'd be better off keeping it what you have it.
Yeah, for sure.
um, I mean, we got a lot out of the way. Is there anything else that you're wanting to bring up or chat about while I got you on here?
Um, I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I think we covered a lot of it.
So next year you're gonna beat Human at the very least, but hopefully get first in Pro 2.
Yeah, that's the
Uh,
goal.
and then you're gonna kick ass at LS Fest again next year. Any thought to go to try and make it to LS Fest West next year?
Uh,
Just too damn
I
far.
don't know. We'll see. We'll see what Human has to say about it.
Okay, that's fair. Though I've heard his trailers don't make it very far when traveling out west.
Yeah. See. Gosh, I don't want to go on that
That was
path.
mean, and I should never have said such a
No,
thing.
it actually wasn't mean. He should have unloaded his car and still made it to the event.
Oh man, but he had his trailer. He had fucking issues on the way out there and on the way back with it. That sucked so bad.
I know.
I felt so
But
bad. Like I bought a shirt because I'm just like, he needs something. I don't like this.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're looking for a trailer right now. So he's like, oh, I can get one built, and I'm like giving him crap, like, no, we got to get a good trailer.
I can just imagine be like, no, we don't need one of your trailers. Don't worry about it. I'll find one.
Well, we've been trying. I mean, they're expensive to get a 53-foot trailer. So.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Holy shit. There was a guy at LS. Actually, I met him at LS Fest West. That like I feel like his setup was not legal because of how much was going on. But he had, I want to say he had a 2-car trailer, like a big fucking trailer, and it was attached to a big fucking RV. And he drove down from Canada.
Dang, to what event?
LS Fest West.
Oh, dang.
Like it was unreal that he made it down there, and he had a badass fucking car. What was it? Something DeLahey. But it's like a twin turbo R32 LS car, of course.
Dang, that's pretty cool.
But yeah, that thing was bitching, and like I just came over and hung out at his setup because he had a killer setup going on, and I'm like, hey, I'm hanging out with a Canadian dude that's wearing a cowboy hat. What can go wrong?
Yeah.
But yeah, dude. Well, I greatly appreciate you being on here, man, and I wish you the best of luck next year. And yeah, if you need any media, let me know.
For sure, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, buddy. I hope you have a great night.
Hey, man, you too. Thanks.